Welcome to Vanguardia America's Newsmaker interview for Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. I'm your host, James Garcia, editor and publisher of Vanguardia America. On Tuesday this week, the country celebrated Citizenship Day. While for most Americans, the day usually passes largely unnoticed, recent challenges by the Trump administration regarding who gets to be a citizen has, in some circles, piqued a lot of interest on the subject. Thanks to a lack of funding and growing fears among immigrants about proposed restrictions by the Trump administration to gaining citizenship, the government is facing a historic backlog of applications from folks wanting to become new Americans. According to federal data, nearly 9 million lawful permanent residents, also known as green card holders, may be eligible to apply for citizenship. For 13 years, the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials, known as NALEO, has partnered with the American Immigration Lawyers Association and grassroots organizations nationwide to host dozens of workshops that help people apply for citizenship. To learn more about the annual project, I spoke to Juliana Cabrales, who directs Latino Civic Engagement in NALEO'S Mid-Atlantic region. I reached Cabrales by phone at her office in Raleigh, North Carolina, and started by asking about the growing backlog of citizenship applications and NALEO's efforts to address the issue.
So without a doubt, the amount of time it's taking to become a U.S. citizen has increased in the last couple of years. We're really concerned about the growing backlog and really are working to make sure that folks that are going through the naturalization process have the information they need in order to fulfill that process. You know, it used to take between 4 to 6 months. Now we're seeing delays up to 2 years in some part of the country. So on the advocacy level, we have raised these concerns with USCIS and are urging the agency to correct this problem so that we might get back to, a reasonable processing time and really the promise of delivering timely and well-considered naturalization decisions to folks that are interested in making the steps. As an organization, we are still encouraging people to begin the naturalization process so that they can vote in future elections and have access to the other opportunities and protections that are afforded to citizens. U.S. citizenship is still the best option for lawful permanent residents, and we're doing our best working with USCIS and the federal government to make sure that those backlogs are alleviated.
Now, you work with a number of organizations around the country. What kind of organizations are those?
So for Citizenship Day in September, we partner with American Immigration Lawyers Association. So on that day, immigration attorneys from across the country that belong to ALA partner with NALEO Educational Fund offices and other partners for group processing events. So precisely events where individuals that are interested in becoming U.S. citizens can come in and receive assistance. In addition to that, September is a big push for this. This work happens year-round. And year-round, we are part of the New Americans campaign, which is a national effort to promote naturalization. And through that campaign, we have local partners across the country. So those might be community-based organizations that serve Latinos. Those might be organizations that are often legal service provider in those communities. We're really partnering with everyone that's interested in doing this work to make sure that lawful permanent residents have access to the services they need to take that step.
Are you hearing feedback either from the American Immigration Lawyers Association or other organizations with regards to the folks they're trying to help that people are concerned about not just the backlog, but there's, obviously seems to be a lot of concern now that even people who might have qualified for citizenship in the past are being challenged by the Trump administration. Sometimes now the questions are being raised that weren't raised before, and that it may be just getting harder to get through the process because of this particular administration.
The interest in naturalization has always been cyclical. So traditionally, we've seen a peak of interest when there's an announcement of an increase in fees or right before a presidential election, because that's often a motivator. People want to vote. We had seen a lot of interest all throughout 2016. In 2017, I want to say through April of that year, we saw kind of the momentum continuing, that interest still being high. That slowed down some in 2017, but most recently we're hearing from partners on the ground that folks are coming out at higher levels to seek assistance. More than anything, we're just monitoring any changes and make sure that we're responding. Our main goal is to make sure that folks that want to become U.S. citizens are able to do so. So it's, part advocacy, part monitoring, and public education on the issue.
But is there also a concern among either organizations you affiliate with to do this kind of work and or the immigrants themselves that this particular administration is just not enthused about the idea of more people becoming citizens, particularly people of color, particularly people of Latino descent, given all of the other sort of messages that have been coming out of the White House? And I wondered if that's discouraging people or perhaps encouraging them to become citizens sooner than later.
It hasn't been a discouraging factor so far. Just this past weekend, I heard from a number of partners that hosted citizenship workshops that had actually prepared for a smaller event, and they saw a bigger turnout than expected. And recently, through our national hotline, we've done some national promotion, and we're still getting a large volume of calls. So the interest has been there. I think when it comes to what's happening with the backlogs, what we're hearing from partners on concerns, yes, sometimes we hear from folks, oh, it's getting harder. But I can't tell you that we've seen it nationwide or, on a consistent basis. I think it varies greatly on a case-by-case basis.
All right. Well, I think we covered everything. Any closing thoughts?
Really would want to encourage folks that are interested in becoming U.S. citizens to give us a call. NALEO Educational Fund operates a bilingual hotline, Spanish and English. The number is 888-839-8682. And through that hotline, our operators are equipped to answer questions about naturalization or refer individuals to a naturalization event or legal service provider in their area.
And as you noted, that even though this was an annual event that the American Immigration Lawyers Association had, this is obviously something that people can pursue year-round, and there are organizations in their communities that can probably help them do that.
Correct. And the backlog should not deter them from applying. The sooner the better.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time.
That was Juliana Cabrales, NALEO's Latino Civic Engagement Director for the organization's Mid-Atlantic region. If you or someone you know wants to become a U.S. citizen, you can call NALEO's toll-free bilingual hotline at 888-839-8682 or text Citizenship to 97779. If you'd like to get our weekly email update on the top news and information impacting the nation's Latino community, visit vanguardiaamerica.com or email us at vanguardianews@gmail.com. For Vanguardia America, I'm James Garcia.